Hello everybody, welcome back to New Millennia here in West Antarctica as we are moving into August. And the drill for the new Iron Mine expansion is very complete. It's at about, I think, 7 meters extension on that piston, and after that point I'm going to have to rip it all out and then install a new piston. And yeah, I haven't figured out a solution to that part yet, but I guess I just have to live with that for the time being. And it has dug out a lot. It looks like it's just about to start actually hitting the iron supply over here. That would be gorgeous. Lovely. But for one rather substantive, problem, which is that, as you can tell, it has had to dig through a lot of snow and a lot of very ancient, honestly, ice, and that has meant that the system is heavily backed up with ice. We don't really have much of anything else here. It's just sort of, yeah, even the storage on the rover is just stuffed with ice right up to the cockpit. But I've added some expansions here, changed things up a little bit just to actually get that to keep running. We've got a large storage here that's pretty much just for ice. We've got, I think it's like 6 different H2O2 generators just trying to process it. We've got a hydrogen engine over here just burning all the hydrogen that gets made in order to actually power the place, but also mostly just to get more space for more hydrogen to be processed. And we've got a small, just sort of like intentional vent of oxygen into the neighboring atmosphere, just to basically just get rid of all of that ice. We don't have a need for all of that ice here. Here we want to be getting through the ice in order to actually work and get to the actual rock and all sorts of other stuffs, so we can get the wonderful things like here. But there's just so much ice that we need to worry about. So I think that's our major problem. The iron mine has been expanded, it is functional, but we need to do something with all of this ice. And I think that means that at very long last, bearing in mind I think we've had to deal with this since we landed, we actually need to build a large-scale ice processing facility in order to actually deal with this. Now, we can use ice to get water, and that is helpful. I'm in, strictly speaking, Antarctica here is a desert, so I can, there's a definite advantage to getting water. But the other things that we can get out of ice, of course, from water, in turn, are hydrogen and oxygen, which of course we're burning over here as well as venting slightly. It's technically, I think if we leave that running over here, we're going to have a significant explosion risk, but it's probably fine for the time being. I'll just light a match somewhere. But yeah, if we break it down to hydrogen and oxygen, oxygen is less useful to us. It's not as energetic a fuel for most of our purposes. But a hydrogen we can use for engine thrusters, we can use for engines in general over here. That we can actually do quite nicely with. And if we break all of the ice down to hydrogen and oxygen anyways, then literally a, torch will convert it back into water. It's very simple at that point. You just have to be careful how dense your gases are when you start lighting the match, as it were. But yeah, so we can probably put some use out of that. I don't really just want to shove all the ice somewhere else and just would probably be a problem like a month or 2 down the line. So today we're going to try and build an actual processing facility, and that's going to be, I think, some considerable distance away from the mine. And the options there are to actually build just straight underneath here, just dig a tunnel by hand and just deal with that. Or, more likely, to just bridge off of that position at the top there, just below the wind turbines, which are currently completely turned off just to prioritize the actual hydrogen engine to burn through ice a bit faster. And the reason I'm not just building this on the side of the iron mine, as it more or less already is because that iron mine will someday be depleted and will someday be deconstructed, so I want to have a dedicated location anyways that can deal with it, and if it's a place we can just, hook over stuff up to later, then all the better. So, let's see, how about here? Here and, connected to the top there should give enough clearance on the horizontal and the vertical for things to drive by. So I think that's what we're going to want. So, do I have anything on me? No. What is the distance there? 125. Okay, right. I will lay out a platform and we'll see about getting started with this then. Okay, step 1 complete. We have a platform, we have power coming into said platform, and we even have control of said platform, which is currently just generating 1 watt of power. It's probably fine. It will probably definitely need a more, like, substantial power supply. We might even just use, like, hydrogen engines with, like, a cut-off, kind of, like, separated emergency storage of hydrogen just so this thing actually continues running. Or maybe we just, like, leave the turbine up there. I don't know. But either way, we have a tower here, which is indicating the altitude that we need to meet up with the iron mines conveyor system over there. So the next thing we need is actual storage down here, which means a large storage tank, because so much ice. So much ice. And now that we have a container for all of the ice, we actually need to hook this thing up to the iron mine, which, hey, that's gonna help the power at least. Just requires building a lot of conveyors. Okay, so snow's coming in, but we've got a good start. So the idea with this gantry is that in the middle we have these 2 connectors, which means that we can hook up these 2 buildings together, should we need to, which is going to be a definite yes in the early stages of this mine. And that will allow, the items to come from the iron mine, namely the ice, into our processing facility. As well, it will then later allow our iron mine to draw power from the processing facility, but it also means that we actually don't have that much to get rid of when eventually this iron mine is exhausted. We can just keep this as some kind of docking section for anything that needs to come along and grab some hydrogen and the like. But now I have to actually build all of that in the snow. My work is never done. And with all of that piping laid, we now have 2 connectors connected together, joining these 2 buildings, and I've added an inventory sorter up there, which is currently whitelisted purely to ice. So with that, if we set that to drain all, we should start to convert... Well, we should start to transfer, more specifically, just yet, all of the ice from the iron mine production over to where our ice processing is going to be very shortly. And that might seem like a very small thing here for me to be informing everybody of, but the next thing that's going to happen is that we're going to be actually turning this on and hopefully getting some iron out of it, which should hopefully make it a lot faster to get that side built up, especially because I'll be able to dismantle the whole ton of this and just move it, so yay! Yay for that. It won't empty out the rover because the rover is like 2 different sorters ahead, but it is, very swiftly emptying out here, so that is nice. Okay, right. With that, I think I'll go turn on the mine then. Let's have a watch of this, because it is dramatic to say the least, and there is a little bit of an actual procedure here. So first things first, drills on, and oh yeah, there we go, and rotor on, and certainly last but by no means least, piston on, which will be basically invisible. But we do also have a light and camera over there, so just to keep an eye on things as it goes. And yeah, as you can see there, the iron is registering at about 26.8 meters away, so it'll be a fair while, and definitely at least 2 pistons before we get to the bulk of the iron. But we already saw that there was some iron coming in, so let's see if we can't catch any of it. It's probably going to be a while. Probably going to be a while, because there's no drills actually on that side, but yay! Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah! And now that we're generating a whole ton more ice, I definitely need to get to work over there. So, jump cut galore today, it seems. I used to do more of the, like, very, very basic time-lapsing, I noticed. Like, a lot of the older logs had a lot more, like, jumping kind of time-lapses. How do you guys prefer that this could be, like, displayed? Do you want to see every individual step I take here? Or, because that will get very tedious and very repetitive over and over and over again. Or would you prefer to just be like, here, I'm gonna do a thing, wham, here's the thing, or something. Let me know how you prefer this. Anyways, back to work. And with the items being pumped across, we now actually can run the drill without having to worry too much about a huge backlog of hydrogen and ice and everything, just making the whole problem so much worse. But yeah, so the O2H2 generators are still pumping it through, they're still prioritizing, which is fine for the most part. And then we have the connector for the ice mine, which is itself empty currently. The industrial cockpit is sort of working as a weird kind of just sort of temporary view of what's coming in, I guess. And then there's all the drills right there. Yeah, not much going on there. But the mining products are empty at present because we're only just getting ice for the most part. We're getting a little bit at a certain point in the actual drill's rotation, but you know, for right now, the storage for the mining products and the refinery are fairly empty. And then we have that huge storage for gravel. Oh boy. I probably need to make this bigger, honestly, if anything. And if we scroll down, we will see somewhere, I could have sworn, connector? Hello? Are we not connected? Yes, there's that, I believe, that I think is that one. Did I disconnect the connector? That just raises further questions. But over here we have the full gantry running across now, so all of the ice can get shot along here in sort of a weird slurry kind of formation. Those are connected, apparently. Weird. And then it comes into this full silo at this point of storage for our new ice processing facility. I had just enough space right up here to actually add another sorter, so even if whatever is pumping the ice in doesn't actually properly sort it, this won't care, it will only actually inject anything that's ice. So that's doing pretty well. We can actually have a look down here. Whoop. So we check the inventory, we can see that our ice is building up quite significantly. Oh, look at that. It's like, well, like that's close to like 500,000 liters of ice. Oi, that's a lot. That's a lot. 1.3 million kilograms. God, that would have been wonderful as a kid to build, like, a snow castle or something in. But, no, we're not building snow castles today, so the next thing is that we need to get all of that ice pumped into some O2H2 generators. And, then we can actually start making some oxygen and some hydrogen, so yeah. Next step, and one more trip back, and we have a grand total of 20 O2H2 generators here, so this is going to be a lot of processing power, and boy, it's fairly expandable. I'm liking this so far. There we go, that's number 11, I think that is. And I even added a little gridded catwalk with some ladders up here, so if I need to access for some reason, I don't know, but if there was like some damage here, then I'd be able to get up here and fix this quite happily. So that should mean pretty much everything's running right now. Let's have a look. Yep, bunch of ice there, bunch of ice there. Everything very much wants to run. It pretty much just can't right now because there's nowhere to put all of the oxygen and the hydrogen. So that's the next thing, is we need to branch off to the left and right here and create a hydrogen storage and an oxygen storage. And from there we can get down to adding some engines and getting this thing some more power, because it's gonna be running low with this weather. So yeah, nearly done. One substantial jump cut later, and we now have all 20 of our H2O2 generators feeding into a pair of large hydrogen tanks, and I'm currently aiming for at least 10 oxygen tanks, but these oxygen tanks are actually not that big. They're about 1/50th the actual volume of those, so I don't know how, like, I don't know offhand what the ratio is for oxygen to hydrogen here, but hopefully if we can just manage, like, even close to a third for the oxygen, then we should be good. But I'm not a chemist, so just probably gonna have to rely on the self-management over here. But once I get this done, engine time. Well, the weather has definitely taken a turn. Fortunately, I can still kind of just follow the gantry. So, there's that. But as we approach over here, we can see the hydrogen stack, as I guess it can be called, is now touching up to a bunch of conveyors, which are then going into some hydrogen engines. Theoretically, I could have made this a narrower thing and just, like, expanded to the right, but it's not that huge of a concern. We don't exactly have a lack of space here. And these mostly just need their power cells, but we should be able to get those running, hopefully before the batteries and such on the iron mine go completely dead. We'll see. But if we just hoof it back over here... Oh, jeez, yeah, the wind turbines, never mind, are going really heavy. Whoa. You don't tend to feel a lot of the actual push, I guess, of the wind in these suits, which is honestly quite nice. Honestly quite nice. Okay, 6 power cells. That should be all that we need. Hopefully. I definitely need to put a, I definitely need to put a fog light over here. You can still see where the iron mine is because of that red light from the spotlights, which are just on a rotate. It looks really well. Gonna have to get something similar over here, because the last thing we want to crash into is a tower full of hydrogen. Oh boy. Imagine that. And all done. Okay. So, these aren't running at the moment. Shouldn't take too much trouble to actually get them to start running. But, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Yeah, I probably just need to give these a bit of a kick, but this now, strictly speaking, I think means that our ice processing is actually also functionally our strongest power plant right now, because it filled up these huge tanks really quickly, and it did the exact same with the oxygen tanks pretty much whilst I was making them. So, we're definitely going to have plenty of fuel for power. It's just a matter of making sure that we don't have any potential other slight problems. Definitely want to add some batteries over here, I think. If this place is going to be running on its own fuel, and its fuel is theoretically not infinite, unlike the wind turbines, or the solar panels, then we want to make sure we have batteries to make sure it can just sort of bridge the gap between... if there's a loss of external power, as it were, we want to make sure this place can run decently okay. But, I think the weather has decided that this is where I shall cease filming for the day, so, I've got plenty of, like, other work to get on here, just to tidy things up, make sure things are perfectly fine, and a whole ton of steel plates to put in, that's for sure. But, other than that, I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall, as ever, catch you all next time. Your eyes are getting heavy. Your mind is feeling clouded. The sound of my voice is relaxing you. You feel an urge to support this and other content I produce by going to patreon.com/lying, where you can pledge and receive fun rewards for your obedience. You will remember to support patreon.com/lying.